This example is about simplifying radicals. We only want real number answers, so we don't want to take square root of a negative number and get any complex numbers. And then also, we want to write our answers in radical form. Don't plug it into a calculator. Alright, let's look at part A. Here we're simplifying the radicals. We want a radical answer. Square root of 48. 48 is not a perfect square, but what you want to do is break 48 up into two factors. The first factor we want to be a perfect square, and then the second one, it's not a perfect square. 48 actually has a couple factors that are perfect squares. You want to try and pick the biggest one. Let's do 48 is 16 times 3 actually. Right, so we'll split it up that way. Now, once you split it up, we just used a property of radicals. Here's 48, which is 16 times 3. So you can take square root of 16 times the square root of 3 to get the square root of 48. We just went backwards. Right, square root of 16 is 4. That radical 3 has to stay in as part of your answer. So your answer is 4 radical 3. Alright, let's do the same thing with part B. Part B, 242 is not a perfect square, but if we think about all of our perfect squares that are, look through that list, and you can do it mentally, and find a perfect square that's a factor of 242. One's kind of screaming at us, 121. 242 is 121 times 2, right? 242. So square root of 121 is 11. The radical 2 has to stay as part of your answer. Don't forget that. Alright, part C, we're actually going to use a different property for radicals. When you're dividing two radicals, it's the same thing as taking the square root of that quotient. Alright, so square root of 200 divided by square root of 200 is the same thing as a big square root of 200 divided by 2. Right, so that's easy to do. 200 divided by 2 is 100. Square root of 100 is 10. That was easy. Alright, let's try part D. Part D is real similar. Let's put it under one big square root, 125 over 5. And if we divide that out, 5 goes into 125 25 times, and square root of 25 is 5. Right? Yeah, just remember that you can multiply two radicals together, or if you have the square root of a number that's not a perfect square, you want to split it apart. And with dividing, if you have the quotient of two radicals, it's the same thing as a square root of that quotient.